walk us through the highlights of Cloudflare's filing and the stuff we didn't know before today.
So like many other tech IPOs, especially in software, it is not profitable. It has a pretty good growth rate, though. So it's really trying to look at a competitor, Fastly, and follow in its footsteps. Fastly went public earlier this year and is doing okay. There have been some sources of mine who were asking me why Cloudflare took this long, though, to get to this point and have their filing. They had been preparing since the fall of last year for public offering.
Right, Cloudflare is a company, a name that we've heard often in conversations about companies that could go public soon, and it hasn't happened until this filing now. William, tell us a little bit more about what exactly Cloudflare does. I mean, in the case of a company like 8chan, they basically protected 8chan from being taken down in denial of service attacks.
Right. So one of Cloudflare's most popular and well-known products is what's called DDoS prevention service. It essentially protects a website from a denial of service attack. So anyone looking to attack the website and take it offline. And they offer this service to tons of websites on the internet. They think of themselves as a utility. And when you have this service, it's the most effective, or one of the most effective ways to protect your website from attacks like this.
Right, and this is where 8chan comes up because Cloudflare, time and again, did not cut off 8chan. The site was obviously still operational until just days ago after that shooting in El Paso, Texas. Leanna, talk to us a little bit about what Cloudflare says about 8chan and how investors might take that.
It's listed as a risk in the filing, and this has really gotten a lot of attention because it's buzzy, it's relevant in the headlines. But I think that Cloudflare was really aiming in its filing today to just show the world how its financials are doing and what its prospects are. So I think it did a good job of putting out there that this is a solid company that serves the backbone of the internet, and there's been pent-up demand among investors for these sorts of companies to hit the market. A few weeks ago, Medallia went public. CrowdStrike also has a really good valuation a couple months after its IPO. So I would say Cloudflare today really is just trying to associate itself with some of these successful software IPOs from earlier this year.
That said, Cloudflare sort of only made news when they've made bad news under criticism that it's helped keep some of these websites afloat. If you go back to 2017 and what happened in Charlottesville, at the time, Cloudflare was under fire for helping support a neo-Nazi website, the Daily Stormer, and it was only after much criticism that they finally essentially took that website down by cutting off service to it. I spoke with the CEO, Matthew Prince, at the time and talked to him about their general policy of, trying to remain neutral when it comes to content online and the websites that they service. Take a listen to what he said to me then.
We turn to the experts in terrorism and illegal content, which is law enforcement, legislators, regulators, and we say, here is this content, what would you like us to do? That to me feels like the principle of due process, that they are actually politically enshrined organizations who can make these decisions, as opposed to these decisions being made based on what the political whims of me or Mark Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos.
Now, when it came to 8chan more recently, it was several hours after that shooting in El Paso that Cloudflare kind of finally said, all right, we're cutting them off now as well. And in a statement at the time, Prince said they have proven themselves to be lawless, and that lawlessness has caused multiple tragic deaths, even if 8chan may not have violated the letter of the law in refusing to moderate their hate-filled community. They've created an environment that revels in violating its spirit. Will, expand on the sort of context here. It's very complicated issues. We're seeing, companies as big as Facebook and Google grapple with what to leave up and what to take down on their platform. And for Cloudflare, it's a slightly different story.
So Cloudflare's in a really difficult position here because they don't want to make content decisions, as you saw in that interview. Like I said earlier, Cloudflare kind of thinks of itself as a utility. The product is so good, and it's hard to find other comparable products. So when you don't have Cloudflare's DDoS protection, it might be really difficult to stay online. So what that means is Cloudflare basically can decide who gets to be on the internet. They don't want to make those decisions. And as you've seen, they've only made that decision twice in removing the Daily Stormer and 8chan. So it's a really difficult position, and when you do things like remove 8chan and remove the Daily Stormer, then you give people material to say, well, why don't you remove this website or that website, or whatever other website on the internet has vile content on it. So I don't think this is a business Cloudflare wants to be in. They don't want to be deciding what's on the internet and what's not.